Harvest Toast. Love them. So it's a bit windy, so Dan's holding the toe brake. I think my fear of heights is getting to me. Why are there so many snakes? The routes from Montrose were in the app telling us to go down $1 Million Highway. This morning we woke up to no power, so I am going to pull out our generator and see if we can use it for the first time. There's some possible thoughts on what it could be, so we think try and figure that out. But for now, we plugged in the truck and have been running it, and I'll go show you where we're at for battery. Corner campsite. Montrose is in the plains and at the entrance of Black Canyon National Park. Unfortunately, there were some wildfires, so we're not sure if we'll be able to get in because they closed portions of it because there were so many fires this summer. And we're in the plains, so it's a bit windy, so Dan's holding the toe brake to try and control the trailer from swaying. I think it's doing pretty well. It's also raining out, but we'll get to our harvest toast for tonight. We'll be staying just for a night and then heading on to Durango. It's starting to clear up a little bit, and we're staying at Shelter Distilling in Montrose. We have drinks and food, so that's how we'll give back to the business, so probably dinner. But they allow us to arrive at 11 a.m. and we're arriving at 11:37. We took the boys for a nice little stroll on the walking paths around the Harvest Host and headed into downtown. Downtown Montrose is located just 45 minutes from Ouray and an hour and a half from Telluride. It's a quaint little town, population of 20,000 people, and it has a lot of Western vibes and a very cute walkable downtown. We also went and stopped at a nice little doggy store, which we really loved, and got the pups some nice treats. Ain't you bone? When we got it back, we put on the dog TV for the boys and headed over to check out the whiskey distillery. It was really cute inside, and they had so many options for lunch and drinks, and everything was just so good. So we're at our harvest host. It's a little windy here. It's in the plains. But we had an app, 2 meals, and 4 drinks. And they gave a deal for either 10% off your whole meal or your first 2 drinks free. And it was really nice. It came to not that bad, so like $70. And it was really yummy. The drinks were so good. I got a mocktail for my second drink and it was the best. Why are there so many snakes? There's a lot of snakes here. I don't like snakes. Is it moving? Where is it? Oh my God. Oh no. Yikes. But we love Harvest Host. We have only had one semi-bad experience and that was my fault. I booked a alpaca farm and Rocky literally almost went into cardiac arrest being so overstimulated by all the animals. You basically parked in the area with the alpacas and there was a tiny horse that was following us around and some goats that were under the RV just scraping their horns on the RV, so we left. But other than that, every single experience has been amazing at Harvest Host, and Boondockers welcome. People are really nice, and the bargains and deals you get, like if you're staying one night and you don't want to cook, like the chances are you're gonna go out to eat anyway. So if you can stay where there's food and drinks and it's literally walking distance to where you're sleeping, so ideal. So this one too has walking trails. So right now we're just like out walking our pups after we had our meals and just gonna go relax on this Saturday afternoon. It's beautiful and sunny out. Yeah, so Harvest Host, love them. This morning we woke up to no power, went out in the middle of the night. So I am going to pull out our generator and see if we can use it for the first time. I got some gasoline, hopefully enough, non-ethanol. I got it from Maverick. There was a Mavericks close by, and I was able to get the 88 non-ethanol gas, which was a great option since we didn't have a stabilizer currently. And the reason for going non-ethanol, it reduces moisture absorption and leads to less carburetor gumming. So it weighs like 110 pounds. So there it is. Unboxing, all the things that came with it. So, looks like some power jumper cables. Don't know what this is. The key fob starter, a propane hookup, and a gasoline funnel.
Just leave it in the bag like this.
Yeah. And it has wheels, so that's nice. A little bigger than Rocky, for reference. We originally purchased the Predator 5,000 watt inverter generator when we still had the i235, knowing we could comfortably operate on a 30 amp adapter dog bone. After upgrading to the Brinkley 2680, we were understandably less confident about the energy usage, but still hopeful the setup would still work for our needs when using the generator. One of the main reasons we chose this particular generator was for how quiet it was. We never imagined ourselves wanting a generator or using it on a regular basis, mainly for how noisy they can be. But the super quiet inverter generator completely changed our perspective. We actually found that it was quieter than our truck engine while running, which was great for some peace of mind in knowing that we wouldn't be as disrupted. As remote workers, power and internet are our livelihood, and having a reliable backup power removes a lot of stress when we are in more remote locations. Size and portability were another big factor for us. The Predator is relatively compact at a roughly 25 to 18 inches and about 110 pounds, and it fits cleanly into our pass-through storage. Going up in wattage usually means much larger and heavier generators, which take up valuable space, which, as RVers know, that is a non-negotiable. I also felt like the dual fuel capability was really ideal for boondocking. In case you ran out of gasoline, we could easily hook it up to one of the propane tanks, which added more flexibility and security. For the 2680, the Brinkley is pre-wired for up to a 5.5 kilowatt onboard generator, which gave us some confidence that the electrical infrastructure was designed for around that similar power range if we were to use our external generator. While it doesn't magically turn the Predator into a 50 amp full service generator, it reassures us that the typical usage could be manageable. Where we do need to be mindful is definitely with the high power draw appliances. RV air conditioners can pull roughly 2.8 to 3.5 kilowatts during startup, which could trip the generator without mitigation. So because of that, we'll plan to install a soft start for our AC unit, as well as reducing our usage and being mindful of our startup. With the AC running, we do know that it would draw around 1.3 kilowatts to 1.6 kilowatts continuously running. We could probably use both if we wanted to, but being mindful of energy usage when hooked up to the generator, we would know that we would try not to use both, and then we would also be mindful to not try and use our AC with our microwave. So those would just be things that we could do to mitigate trips or be aware of our power usage. Lastly, for us, it was price that went into it. I know that Hondas and Champions on the market are definitely recommended generators by the vast majority. As for the Honda generators, we just felt like they were a bit too expensive for what we were looking for, and the Predator itself was actually relatively reasonable in price, and then we also purchased it at the Harbor Freight parking lot sale in August, so it was $200 off. The Predator and the Champion could probably go neck and neck on which one to choose, but when we were doing our research, we found that more reviews said the Predator was super quiet, so we went with that one. We also had that nice little discount code, and we'll see how happy we end up with it. When looking at the controls on the Predator inverter, you'll have your power button, and then there's a start push button, which you would push 2 times to start. There is also option to switch between the gasoline and propane, which is a turn knob. And then below is where you would connect your parallel kit if you were to get one. The parallel kit allows you to add more plugins as well as connect to a 50 amp. It comes with a 30 amp connection as well as 2 120 volt plug and then a USB section as well. There's also 2 trip reset buttons should the 30 amp or 20 amp get tripped. You'll also need to add oil to your generator. This is the oil you want, so it's 10W30 SAE. You'll then need to make sure you connect the batteries as they come disconnected. So pull handle. For this harvest host day, we had problems keeping the generator running. We looked into it and tried some troubleshooting, but weren't as successful for this run. So we're gonna call it for today on figuring that out. There's some possible thoughts on what it could be. So we think either wrong type of gas or not enough gas for first start. The oil is not enough oil, and then a video suggested checking out the spark plug. So we're going to do a further investigation in Durango, try and figure that out. But for now, we plugged in the truck and have been running it, and I'll go show you where we're at for battery. Last time I checked, we were at good, and we've been running it for about 10 to 15 minutes. So we were able to get the slide in. Yeah, so we're at good battery life. So that's one option if your generator doesn't work. At a later date, we did some future investigation in what could have gone wrong. We confirmed our fuel type would have been the correct type of fuel used, so we dove into the panel itself and made sure that the power connection was tightened, and then added some more oil to the container. After doing these things, it did in fact turn on and work properly. We'll definitely have to wait for another boondocking situation to see how long it'll stay on for, but all in all, everything seemed to be operating after doing these checks. We also invested in a fuel stabilizer, and this is important to make sure that your fuel is stable if you're storing it for a long amount of time. It also helps with fuel oxidation and volatility and reduces residue and gumming up your carburetor. And for us, we made the right move going with the 88 non-ethanol gas for our first time. So without the stabilizer, it was still okay. But a stabilizer is definitely important. We're slightly embarrassed to share this as well, but we made another mistake in putting our Predator in the back of our truck bed while hitched up. It actually was dented and scraped by our fifth wheel. We stopped by Coffee Traders and grabbed a coffee before heading off on our next adventure before heading towards Durango. On a whim, we made our way to Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park, just outside of Montrose. The park is known for some of the steepest cliffs in North America. While there, we visited the South Rim, which was greatly impacted by a recent fire that started in July due to lightning. The blaze happened near the South Rim Canyon. It burned over 4,200 acres and led to full closure of the national park. We were able to get in and do the Rim Rock Trail, which was actually dog-friendly. The canyon walls of this national park drop nearly 2,000 feet and are narrow in the bottom sections, only being 40 feet wide in places, which is where it gets its name Black Canyon, where sunlight barely reaches the bottom and creates really dramatic landscapes. The painted wall rises over 2,250 feet and is one of the tallest cliffs in Colorado. The park itself was actually only founded in 1999 as a national park, but prior was a national monument for 90 years. I think my fear of heights is getting to me. Another national park checked off our list. Gunnison Black Canyon National Park, or I said that wrong, Black Canyon of Gunnison National Park. We're at the South Rim entrance, and it's definitely massive and impressive. We did the Rim Rock Trail, which is dog friendly on leash. We ran into 2 other dogs. Wasn't super crowded, so right now the park services are shut down. I imagine due to the government shutdown, but those were closed, but we were able to go in and still do the Rim Rock Trail. There was also a fire over the summer that burned through this area, so online it said it was closed, but it is actually open, and it was a nice little trail. Some of the views get a little sketchy and give me fear of heights, but it was nice. Definitely not the most impressive national park we've been to, but definitely breathtaking. But it was only 25 minutes from our harvest host, so not far at all. Made a pit stop because we can't check into our campground till 3 anyway in Durango, so it worked out well. So we're on our way to Durango, and the routes from Montrose were in the app telling us to go down $1 Million Highway. We did some research and deep diving into Reddit, and I don't think we're comfortable risking it, so we're gonna avoid it. We'll do it by car, but it just adds about an hour to our drive, but it's worth it just to be safe. So we're going around past Ouray towards Cortez and Dolores, and then we'll head over to Durango. So no $1 Million Highway for this rig, but you gotta look too. So it's Highway 550, and Dan has RV Life maps, which we use for traveling, and it kept wanting to take us on the $1 Million Highway and not let us know. So just be aware, if you know there's a big scary road. coming up, maybe just double check the number on the highway so that you don't end up doing something you regret. So, yeah.